Please give them a hand, students from El Amin. You are welcome. Please be seated. Also with us, students of Equa Light Path Academy are also here in the gallery. You're welcome to the house. Our colleagues, we have a conference committee on the Nigeria French language village bill for harmonization with the Senate committee, led by Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata, Honorable Ademorin Kuye, Honorable Chinedu Oga, Honorable Sada Soli, Honorable Joseph Bello, Honorable Usman Zana. Again, Honorable Sada Soli, did you hear your name? You didn't hear your name? Yeah, you didn't. I know you didn't because Francis was disturbing you. So the conference committee with the Senate on the Nigerian French language village bill, Honorable Abubakar Hassan Fulata, Honorable Ademorin Kuye, Honorable Chinedu Oga, Honorable Sada Soli, Honorable Joseph Bello, Honorable Usman Zana. Honorable colleagues, yesterday, Honorable Michela, we had a banter here because he was wearing a face cap, and it seems that was misinterpreted by many. I did say that Honorable Michela will be allowed to stay in chambers because he is a very good legislator. But some have interpreted that to mean I said he's not a good legislator. I said he's a very good legislator, and that's why we're allowing him to stay in the chambers. Apparently, I found out that Honorable Michela was actually on his way to Ghana for an ECOWAS conference, and that's why he had the face cap for the conference that he was going in Ghana. That's why he had it on. He was on his way to the airport. So we don't want mischief makers to misinterpret what happened. Honorable Michela is one of our very best legislators, one of our good ones. Public petitions, any public petition? Honorable Dedere here. Honorable Buba.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba. I present Gombe Home Federal Constituency from Adamawa State. I rise to present a petition from one Eli Javan Shungu for alleged unlawful termination of employment with the Federal Road Safety Corps. Mr. Speaker, I seek your permission to lay the petition.
You may lay your petition. Yes, I know. Today is the minority leader's birthday. Honorable Lumelu, happy birthday. Please stand up so the students up there can recognize you. Wave to the students. That's the minority leader of the house, Honorable Lumelu, and it's his birthday today. They're even getting up for you. They're giving you a stand. Any other public, I'm not listening to that. Any other public petition? Matters referred to Committee on Public Petitions. Honorable Ayeni, we're going to motions of urgent public importance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Lawrence Babatunde Ayeni. I represent the good people of Ilesha West, Ilesha East, Atakumosa West, Atakumosa East, Osun State. I'd like to say the leave of my honorable colleague, the House, under order of the House 8 Rule 4, to enable me make a motion as urgent important needs to end killings of innocent citizens by suspected cultists in Ijesha land, which has started almost 4 weeks ago. And we've lost almost 24 citizens of my constituency. So I would like the House to support me so that I'll be able to make the motion.
Is it an ongoing thing? It's been going on for a week, you said?
Yes.
And it has not stopped?
It has not stopped. Yesterday, almost 8 were killed before this one.
So that's what makes it urgent public importance, because it's a one-time thing that happened and you want to, and we'll put that on notice. So it's an ongoing thing that's been going on for a week and continues?
Continues.
Okay. Honorable Benson, can you second, please?
Honorable members, I remain Honorable Babajimi Benson. I represent the good people of the Ikorodu Federal Constituency. I rise to second this motion, ably moved by my good friend. I still second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Those who feel this matter is urgent enough, please say, for us to take now, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Tukur, or rather, sorry, move your motion.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, Honorable Lawrence Babatunde Ayeni, I represent the good people of Ilesha West, Ilesha East, Atakumosa West, Atakumosa East, Osun State. I rise to make urgent important motion on urgent needs to end killings of innocent citizens by suspected cultists in Ijesha land. The House notes that Atakumosa East, Atakumosa West, Ilesha East, and Ilesha West federal constituency, Osun State, has been the most peaceful localities in the southwest region of the country. Regrettably, noted that the inglorious activities of suspected members of the yet to be identified cultist group has over the past 3 months embarked on merciless murder of unsuspecting residents in the area. Observe that on the 7th February 2022, members of the dreadful cultist group in broad daylight killed 5 persons, while those who were burnt by stray bullets and sustained various degrees of injury were taken to Wesley Hospital located in Ilesha East for medical treatment. Concerned that barely 2 weeks after, especially 19 February 2022, which was the day for the All Progressive Congress party primary, a group of political thugs who drove in a branded vehicle of a certain political party invaded the venue of the party primary and unleashed attack on the voters and succeeded in killing 1 person before they escaped from the incident. But the security agencies pursued them and recovered the vehicle used for the operation, where they abandoned it and was towed to Ayeso police station. where that there was another massacre carried out on Monday, 21st February 2022 in Irojo area, in Ilesha East, during which 7 persons were killed by the suspected cultists around 7:30 p.m. Barely an hour of a peace meeting by some community leaders and the Osun State Commissioner for Police. Worried, residents of the area can no longer sleep with their 2 eyes closed at night, not able to go about their lawful business during the day time as a result of these life-threatening incidents. Displeased that ugly incidents, if not nipped in the bud, may cause breakdown of law and order as well as escalate to other parts of the state. I have resolved to all the Inspector General of Police, Director General of State Security, and other security agencies to intervene by deploying the officers to the affected area in the bid to return normalcy and restore peace and order. Second, mandate the Joint Committee on Defense, Police, and Army to intervene with the relevant authorities with a view to save lives and properties. 3, mandate the police and DSS to run an investigation on the recovered abandoned branded vehicle. And lastly, to mandate the Committee on Legislative Compliance to ensure compliance to my motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Miga, please second. Saidu Miga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable members, I'm Honorable Said Yusuf Miga. I represent Jahun Miga Federal Constituency. I'm from Jigawa State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by our colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Miga. Straightforward about the killings, urgent. Your prayers are that the IG and want to get involved. Okay, so those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Tukura. Speak to your mic.
And I represent the people of Zuru, Fakai, Danko, Sagu, and Sakaba Federal Constituency of Kebbi State. Mr. Speaker, I rise under Order 8 Rule 4 to present a matter of urgent public importance. On the urgent need to deploy new strategies to address local government areas of Kebbi State. Note that it is no longer news that
Hold on, let me get somebody to second that first. Honorable Stanley Olajide.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, I am Honorable Adedeji Stanley Olajide. I represent the people of Ibadan Northwest Southwest Federal Constituency of Oyo State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my colleague. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Those who believe this motion is urgent enough to take now, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honorable Tukura, move your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The motion is on the urgent need to deploy new strategies to address the rate of kidnapping and banditry-related crimes in Danko, Sagu, and Sakaba local government areas of Kebbi State. The House will note that it is no longer news that bandits are moving in hundreds from village to village, house to house, in Danko, Sagu, and Sakaba local government of Kebbi State, in search of cattle to rustle, innocent civilians to kidnap, foodstuff to set ablaze, and women to rape. Further note that it is no longer news that at intervals, the armed forces, together with the support of vigilantes across the local government areas, provide defensive mechanisms in combating the operations of the criminals in the affected areas. In so many operations, the armed forces and the vigilantes against the bandits' activities have received heavy casualties of the combatants have been recorded. Aware that these bandits now conduct their criminal activities in broad daylight, riding on motorbikes with not less than 2 to 3 criminals per bike, carrying sophisticated guns and ammunition. Further aware that recently, the bandits has taken over control of Erkuka, Moray, Dankade, within Waja district of the Wasagu Chiefdom. Furthermore, in Bena district, over 100 people were abducted, and in Bena and Don Umaru, Tumburuku, Mayrere, and Ayu. Specifically in Ayu, the residents were forced to flee to Wasagu and Bena areas. Worried that on the 19th of February 2022, the bandits in hundreds passed through Waje, Sabonlai, Zutu, and Kongon Wasagu, where they killed so many people and rustled over 1,000 cows. This incident has therefore increased the number of IDPs in Waje, Riba, and Kenya, and Wasagu, all in Danko Wasagu local government. They stopped at the good people of Doka, Ganyale, Moray, Katare, Bonku Mutare, Bawada, Tungar Dangula, Tungar Galla, Gimi, Zagami, Kahalmo, and Chidubuku, all under Waje district in Wasagu Chiefdom of the Nkosa Kuluka, have fled to different destinations in search of their safety. Further, they stopped that in Sakaba, the bandits have taken over Dankolo, Makuku, Sakaba, Jambirni, and Kurmi Hodo towns and villages. In another sad story, on the 10th of February, the bandits displaced the residents of Ungwangwadi, Agali, and Mazarko. They killed many and kidnapped about 80 people. The residents in these areas are currently in IDP camps in Dir and Daji. It's regrettable that the current strategy for combating the security challenge is not enough to surmount the challenges. Hence, there is serious need to deploy massively all law enforcement agencies to conduct a rigorous operation that will bring to an end to the banditry and cattle rustling at the affected local government areas. And for the Air Force to deploy Super Tucano to combat all the bandits and their camps. Concerned that the peace-loving residents of the affected areas are homeless and economically worthless, the number of widows and widowers are increasing. Their children cannot go to school, farmers do not have access to their farmlands, the local markets cannot be operated. That I urge this Honorable House to resolve to urgently call on the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces to deploy massively all the law enforcement agencies to conduct a rigorous operation that will bring an end to the banditry and cattle rustling in the affected local government areas. Direct the Air Force to deploy Suka to Kano to bombard all the bandits and their camps, which are all known. Direct the Chief of Defense Staff and Inspector General of Police to, as a matter of urgency, set up commands in the affected areas. Direct the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials such as clothes, blankets, food, and shelter to victims of the affected areas. And that this Honorable House do observe a 1-minute silence in honor of the departed souls. Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable colleagues.
Thank you. Princess Miriam, can you second?
Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is...
Point of order.
Point of order, Chief Whip.
My name is Mohammed Tahir Munguno. I represent Marte Munguno, Nganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. Mr. Speaker, our rules are meant to be obeyed, are not meant for fancy. And the rules that I want to cite is supra, is known to each and everybody. Honorable Princess Mariam is not on her seat. So, unless she has gotten whether express, of which I didn't know, or implied approval of the Speaker before she can address the House from that seat.
I think the chief whip is right, but you said either express or implied approval of the speaker. I think by me calling her to second, it is implied that I've given her approval. Am I correct, Chief Whip?
Absolutely correct. I concur.
Because I called her, I know she's not on her seat, but I still called her. So that's an implied approval.
The chair is always right.
But the Chief Whip is very, very correct. And it was not an implied approval. I was not aware. So
The chair is always right. The chair is always right.
Point of order again.
So Chief Whip,
We're not going to second this motion. Okay, what's your point of order, Honorable Onanuga? Privilege. Personal explanation.
Personal explanation, sir. Order 6, rule anyone that you like to pick.
There is no such thing here. We'll come back to you. Look.
Mr. Speaker, I need for the House to please understand what I'm trying to say. The Chief Whip has seen you call different members that are not seated on their seat, and he never complained. But when it was the turn of Princess Miriam, a fantastic female legislator, he had to rise up and say a point of order.
Mr. Speaker.
Actually have to be ruled out of order. You know why? Number one, he only saw Princess Miriam because she got up to speak. That's how he was able to realize that she was.
When Honorable Sarasoli stood up to speak.
Who?
Honorable who? Honorable Sarasoli stood up to speak from the Deputy Chief Whip's seat.
Are you saying the Chief Whip is discriminating between male and female?
Mr. Speaker, sir, please.
Yes.
Yes, sir. If you allow me.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today here in my proper shoes as leader of this House, Mr. Speaker. With due respect to my responsible colleagues that are seated here, Mr. Speaker, I think what we have had was an appropriate point of order put in place by the Chief Whip, able Chief Whip of the House of Representatives. Competent and capacity Chief Whip who has succeeded me in that very respected office.
The former Attorney General in Borno.
The former Attorney General of Borno State. And by extension, an Attorney General of the 9th Assembly House of Reps, that Leadership Caucus. Mr. Speaker, what I just want to say by way of clearance is that he brought up an appropriate point of order. And the chair, by the powers appropriated to it by our rules, is always right. And I want to say that whether the Chief Whip was right or wrong, since the chair has declared that position that yes, the speaker knew she was speaking from a different seat, therefore providing an applied approval for her to speak from there, I would like to say that your judgment simply implies that the Chief Whip was also impliedly out of order. And now that the Chief Whip has gotten that shot from you, we do not expect any other floor member to come up and begin to shoot the Chief Whip again. I want to plead with the chair, you know I cannot rule from the floor, to please rule Madam out of order, not to attack the Chief Whip again. Yes, sir.
The first statement I made was that the Chief Whip was absolutely right, but that because I recognized her, it was implied that I had approved. The Honorable Onanuga, I don't think the Chief Whip, if you know him very well, will discriminate between male and female. It is whatever he observes. If somebody else was speaking out of his seat and he did not observe it, he did not look back at that time, good luck to that person. But the moment he looks back and he catches you, he will whip you into line.
Information, Mr. Speaker. Information.
One is information, one is point of order. Which one comes first?
Mr. Speaker.
What's your information?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, the issue in contention is Order 5, Rule 1-2.
Order 5, Rule 1(2). A member may only speak from the seat allocated to him. The emphasis there is may. A member may only speak from the seat allocated to him. Order 5, Rule 1(2). So it's at the discretion of the chair to decide whether the member can speak from that chair or not.
Which is exactly what the chief whip said, that either expressly or implied I have given consent. So that's exactly what the chief whip said. What's your point about that, minority leader?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Delmbelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shibli Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, my point of order is on legislative agenda. And I will take you to legislative agenda section 2, subsection 1. And it says needs assessment. The House will institute a needs assessment of its resources, equipment, manpower, processes, and mechanism to determine adequacy. The needs assessment will also seek to determine whether resources currently available are adequate for the operations of modern legislative system. We will also seek to address public concern about the cost of running legislative, including identifying and blocking the loopholes. Now, if you go back and underline the word seek to determine equipment, manpower. Mr. Speaker, we are still under COVID protocol. And I don't think this House has taken a firm decision as to manner in which members will now be seated. If it has happened, I'm not aware. If we decide to do that, it will fall under our legislative action as embedded in our legislative agenda. So it's either we'll take a decision so that it will guide the chief whip on how to now address members who are not on their legitimate seat. For now, since we are still under COVID protocol, I think that having members sit on seats that are not theirs, and you also ruled the other day that for the purpose of only voting, members can temporarily come to their seat and vote, and after which go back in the for the sake of having distancing because of COVID protocol. So I think that this issue of sitting on your chair or not should once and for all be addressed, and let members know where we are heading to as relates to COVID protocol.
Yes, thank you, Minority Leader. But needs assessment in the legislative agenda has nothing to do with COVID protocol. Needs assessment, and it talks about equipment and things like that. I don't think it's relevant to the discussion at hand. That's number one. Number two, when the chief whip made his observation, he was talking about Princess. Look at Princess over there. There's no COVID to our left or to our right in her proper seat. So this had nothing to do with COVID. She was just wrongly placed in the wrong place because she knows why she was sitting there. It had nothing to do with COVID. But we addressed this yesterday that our sitting arrangements is necessitated right now because of the COVID protocol, that people cannot sit next to each other. But there's still ample room for you to sit in your seat and somebody else sit somewhere. So we will address it, don't worry. We will address it.
The leader of the PDP.
Chief Whip will continue to do his work. If somebody is sitting out of place, not because of protocol, COVID protocol, but because the person just feels like sitting somewhere else, then the Chief Whip is in order to call the person, to whip the person to order.
Speaker, sir. Please.
Which question now? Yes, she was about to, before everybody started. Princess, please, second.
Minority Leader, please be guided. Be guided by the chair, please. Please sit down and keep quiet.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Princess Miriam Odinaka Onoha. I speak for the gender-friendly people of Isi Alambano, Onimo, Okigwe Federal Constituency. I am from Imo State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to second the motion ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Kabiru. I so second.
Thank you. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Honourable members, the first business of the day is presentation of 12 bills, and I invite the clerk to read their short title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Citizens Bill of Rights Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Weapons Handling Regulation Bill 2022, first reading. National Amnesty Commission Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Federal University of Environmental Sciences, a Fund Osun State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Secondary Education Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Federal Institute of Biomedical and Laboratory Technology FRUM Bill 2022, first reading. Alva Nikoku Federal University of Education Owerri Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Alva Nikoku Federal University of Education Owerri Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Environmental Research Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. National Groundnut Production, Processing and Research Institute, Wuno Sokoto State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. Federal Medical Center, Dadinkawa, Kano State Establishment Bill 2022, first reading. National Center for Research and Production of Snake Vaccines, Establishment Bill, ETC Bill 2022, first reading.
The next item is a presentation of reports, and we will skip that item of presentation of reports until later on today. We will still take it today, but we'll skip it and go to the first order of the day, which is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Legion Act Cap N119, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish and include certain functions of the core of the Nigerian Commissioners on proper care, good health, and welfare of the Nigerian Legion, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Patrick Nathan Ifon. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 15 July 2021, and I invite Honorable Ifon to move that the bill be now read a second time. Honorable Ifon, please go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Patrick Ifon. I represent all the people from Eket, Esreket, people on the Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Honorable Speaker, I raise a motion for the second reading of a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Legion Act Cap 9119, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish and include certain functions of the core of the Nigerian Commissioners for proper care, good health, and welfare of the Nigerian Legion, and for related matters. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jha.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Ahmed Jaha Babawa is my name. I represent Chibok Dambo Goza Federal Constituency, and as a son of a retired army officer, I rise to second a motion ably moved by a senior colleague for a bill for an act to amend the Nigeria Legion. I so second. Thank you.
Honorable Ononuga, the Honorable Linda is not on her seat, but if the Chief Whip should say something, you say it's a gender discrimination again. And I did not imply or give her express approval. Voting starts now. Please vote, honorable members, yes, nay, or abstain on this bill. Honorable Dana Good, have you voted? Nobody is voting on this side. Honorable Musa is not voting.
Honorable Munir, go to your seat and vote. Honorable Munir Dan Agundi, go to your seat and vote.
We have 52 yes, 4 nays and 1 abstention. So the ayes have it. Long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Nigerian Legion Act, Cap N 119, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish and include certain functions of the cause of the Nigerian commissioners for proper care, good health, and welfare of the Nigerian Legion, and for related matters. Second reading.
Bill referred to the Benson Committee, Defense. Second order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish Unclaimed Financial Assets Commission, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Ademore Kuye. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Thursday, 6 July 2021, and I invite Honorable Kuye to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name remains Ademori Aliukuye. I represent the good people of Shomolu Federal Constituency, and I am from Lagos State. I rise to move for a bill for an act to establish Unclaimed Financial Assets Commission and for related matters, HB 1477. For second reading, sir. I so move, sir.
Any seconder? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Honorable Bello Kaoje. I represent the good people of Bagudo, Suru Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Kebbi State. I rise to second the motion the bill for an act to establish Unclaimed Financial Asset Commission and for related matters moved by Honorable Kuye. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kaoje. We'll vote for this bill, an act to establish the Unclaimed Financial Assets Commission for related matters, 8B 1477. Voting starts now. ayes have it. Are the results on the screen? Okay. So yeah, I don't necessarily need to repeat so make sure the results are on the screen for everybody to see. So the ayes have it. Clerk, long title, please.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Unclaimed Financial Assets Commission and for related matters. Second reading.
The bill is referred to the Committee on Finance. Honorable members, the same announcement I made yesterday. Everybody has to be on the floor on Wednesday and possibly Thursday if we don't finish voting on Wednesday. Voting for constitutional amendment, the first batch is ready. The reports will be late today, and we will consider the reports on Wednesday and possibly Thursday. We need 2/3 before we can amend the Constitution. So every member needs to be present. Members who are not present, it will be known back home that they were not present for constitutional amendment. Or better still, those who are present, their names will be published. And it will be inferred that those whose names are not published were not present for constitutional amendment. So let's pass this message on. Otherwise, we'll be sitting down here and we will not have the requisite numbers to even pass one single clause. So please, it's important that all members are present on Wednesday. All committee work, which is normally what a lot of members are at during the week, all committee work will be suspended for Wednesday and Thursday. The third order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to establish a federal medical center, Zuru, Kebbi State, saddled with the responsibility of providing secondary and tertiary medical services for all kinds of medical challenges to all categories of Nigerians and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Kabiru Tukura. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 20th of October 2020, and I invite Honorable Tukura to move that the bill be read a second time.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, this is a bill for an act that seeks to establish the Federal Medical Center, Zulu. The center will be saddled with the responsibility of providing secondary and tertiary medical services for all kinds of medical challenges to all categories of Nigerians. Before I proceed, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, permit me to provide you with a brief background of the bill. In Nigeria, primary health care is to be provided by local government.
I think somebody needs to second your motion. I will shut you up.
Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I am Lawan Shetima Ali, representing Bursari, Gaidami Bursari, Federal Constituency from Yobe State, sir. I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Kabir Tukura. I so second, sir.
Honorable Tukura, do you really want to lead the debate because it's an establishment bill? And it's pretty straightforward. You just want to, okay, go ahead.
It's straightforward.
Huh?
It's straightforward, no problem.
Straightforward, yeah, it's an establishment bill. Let's just put the question. Are we ready to vote? Voting starts now. Voting starts now. End of voting. Ayes have it with 67 votes. Clerk.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to establish Federal Medical Center, Zuru, Kebbi State, saddled with the responsibility of providing secondary and tertiary medical services for all kinds of medical challenges to all categories of Nigerians and for related matters. Second reading.
Clerk, since we're trying to test these machines, this voting system, please kindly just get your people to do a head count of how many members are here present, so that we can we can relate that to the numbers that we're seeing on the screen, and make sure everybody's voting. This bill is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. The fifth order of the day is a motion on need to investigate the, fourth order of the day is commencement of debate on the general principles of a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act, Cap 010, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to establish the National Orthopedic Hospital, Okun, Edo State, and for related matters, standing in the name of Honorable Dennis Idahosa. Honorable members will recall that the bill was read the first time on Tuesday, 5th October 2021, and I invite Honorable Idahosa to move that the bill be now read the second time.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name is Dennis Idahosa. I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Board Act to establish the National Orthopedic Hospital, Okun, in Edo State, in South-South geopolitical.
Honorable Duku.
Right Honorable Speaker, my highly respected colleagues, I'm Honorable Aisha Jibril Duku, Gimbiar Duku, member representing Dukuna for the Federal Constituency. I come from Gombe State. I rise to second the motion for a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospital Management Board Act to establish the National Orthopedic Hospital, as moved by Honorable Idahosa. I so second.
Do we have the numbers? One minute, we're about to vote. Voting starts now. Thank you. Very accurate. Thank you. Ayes have it. Yeah, long title.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a bill for an act to amend the Orthopedic Hospitals Management Board Act to establish the National Orthopedic Hospital, Okungun, Edo State, and for related matters. Second reading.
The bill is referred to the Committee on Health Institutions. The fifth order of the day is motion on the need to investigate the duplication of functions of agencies of the federal government, standing in the name of Honorable Tahir Mohammed Mongunu. Honorable Mongunu is invited to move the motion.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohammed Tahir Mongunu. I represent Martin Mongunu, Gaza Federal Constituency of Borno State. I hereby move a motion on the need to investigate the duplication of functions of agencies of the federal government. The House notes that Section 153, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, empowers the National Assembly to repeal obsolete laws and enact new ones for the good governance of the Federation. Aware that Nigeria has been gaining on the World Index of Ease of Doing Business, EDB, rising from the 145th position in 2019 to 131st position in 2020. Hence, there is need to consolidate on this improvement. Worried that with the existence of about 1,484 agencies, departments, boards, parastatals, and corporations in the country, with the attendant duplication of functions and class of interest, there is likelihood of the latest World Bank annual ratings to slide considerably. Blips in the need for stock-taking and review of functions of all government agencies resolves to set up ad hoc committee to investigate duplication of duties, overlapping functions, and counterproductivity of established agencies, departments, board, parastatals, and corporations in the country. Ascertain root cause analysis of the regular bickering among some established agencies, departments, board, parastatals, and corporations in the country. Establish areas of mergers, synergies, and justification of the existence of some established agencies, departments, boards, parastatals, and corporations which are no longer needed in the country, and report back within 6 weeks for further legislative action. I so move.
Honorable Kiruka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Kiruka Onyejoch. I represent the good people of Isukwatu Munoj Federal Constituency. I'm from Abia State. I rise to second the motion as heavily moved by the Chief Whip. I so second.
Should I add more, please?
Chief Whip, there are two things. German business, are we sure we don't have something similar? This is like the Oronsoye report, right?
That is why I want to put more flesh.
No, do we have anything similar, motion like that, or that is?
Not to the best of my knowledge, but
Not to the best of your knowledge.
Yes,
Okay.
but we can step it down. Yeah, we can step it down. Let us.
No, just to make sure that we don't have any such thing.
Yeah, not to the best of my knowledge.
Huh? Go ahead, yes.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, my name is Ahmed Idris. I represent Wase Federal Constituency of Plateau State. Your Excellency, respected colleagues, my attention is being brought to this particular motion by Honorable Bagos. That there was a time they presented the motion, but you asked them to step down because there is a report, and he's confirming to me that there's a report even on the motion.
That is.
The motion was taken.
Was taken.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Chief, maybe we'll step it down. Maybe you liaise with Bagos and Chairman Business to make sure that we don't have such, because the irony of it is we're talking about duplication of agencies, so we don't want to be duplicating our own motions too.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I remain Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno, Ganzai, Federal Constituency of Borno State. In view of the development of having a similar report already laid before the House, I think there is no need for these motions to start now. So we better step it down for the Rules and Business Committee to investigate the status of the report that is already before the House.
But if indeed, Chairman Business, if indeed there is a motion like that, we would like to know what is happening because it's a very important motion. Very important. DS, you have information on that?
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I would urge that if there is a motion like that, because of the enormity and then the importance of this particular motion, for me it's very right. We need to streamline some of the function of some of our agencies. We may proceed after viewing the report, sir, before consideration. Proceed to put up a small committee to look at it as to whether it will capture the interest of what is trying to be. It depends on what has been addressed in the report. So that we'll do a once-off job than rather coming to be faced with another assignment, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So, Chairman Business, over to you. Let's, in line with that. Motion step down. Leader of the House.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. My respected colleagues, Ado Dogwa is my name. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I represent the good people of Dogwa, Chudumada Federal Constituency of Kano State. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I rise at this very critical period of our proceedings today to seek the leave of the Honorable Speaker and by extension the leave of this Honorable House to allow the mother of the first family and by extension the mother of the nation, Hajia Aishat Buhari, who is in the National Assembly today to observe our proceedings. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is my belief that if this is granted, it will continue to help and provide for the already existing seamless relationship between the executive and the legislative arm of government. I want to respectfully seek the leave of the House to please allow us suspend the rules of this House to admit her on the floor of the House. Thank you, and God bless you.
Second.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Nasir Ali Ahmed. I represent Nasara Federal Constituency, and I'm from Kano State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by the House Leader. I so second.
Those in support that we admit the First Lady into the chambers, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Deputy, Chief Whip and Deputy, please, can you bring in the First Lady?
For purposes of gender balancing, two of them should go. Gender balancing, please. You bring her safe. Please, members of the press, please. Please get back to your normal places. Please. Please, proceedings will continue now. Members of the press, please realign. Please. Please. Mr. Speaker, the House is ready for continuation of our proceedings, sir.
Honorable colleagues, we have with us in chambers today, this afternoon, the First Lady of the nation and her team. I believe she's supported by particularly the Minister of Women Affairs and several others. Madam First Lady, you're highly welcome to the House of Representatives. We thank you for coming. Honorable colleagues, by way of introduction and perhaps some background, the First Lady is here in a capacity as the First Lady and as a woman to support and show her support for the women folk, and particularly in the area of constitutional amendment in certain areas that would inure to the benefit of a woman. We have some provisions in the amendment to the Constitution which practically every woman in Nigeria is excited about. And she has come basically just to lend her support. Madam First Lady, we thank you for all that you've been doing. None has gone unnoticed. We are not unmindful of how you have used the weight of your office to support so many issues in Nigeria today, particularly, again, in this instance, those that promote the welfare of women. We thank you, and we pray that God will continue to guide you right. So we'll just go straight to the, what's your point about a minority leader?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Oshun, the federal constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I'm going to be citing two orders. One is a constitutional order, and the other one is our rules. Order 6, Rule 2 on privilege, and also Section 42 of our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, before now, I didn't know the reason why our mother, the mother of the nation, is here. But you have just eloquently explained the reason why she's here. Unfortunately, I'm a man. And she's the mother.
Very unfortunate.
And she's the mother of the nation, whether man or woman. But you stated that she's here because of the women. And that, in effect, affects the provision of Section 42 on the issue of discrimination. Because I would have expected that you would say that First Lady, the mother of the nation, is here purposely to stand by her children, whether male or female. So, Mr. Speaker, I will be wondering why Mr. President will leave us alone and allow First Lady to come for women alone. And we are now going to be intimidated, and the outcome of this alteration will be affected by the virtue of the fact that the mother of the nation is here with us. I am feeling intimidated, and that is why I have raised this support of order. I shall submit.
Thank you, Honorable Elumelu. For clarity, we know you are the leader of opposition in the House. For when you go back to the office, read your Section 42 in conjunction with Section 45. You cannot isolate Section 42 without reading the provision that allows us to do what we're doing. But let me just say this very quickly. You have just lost yourself in your constituency 70% of your votes that are coming. You have just lost that. You are ruled out of order. The Deputy Speaker, please, okay, let me just go to the presentation of the report. And whilst you are presenting the report, you may want to touch on perhaps the area that concerns the First Lady and all the women, if you so please. Honourable members, the second business of the day is presentation of 68 reports of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution, standing in the name of Honorable Idris Ahmed. The reports are ready for presentation. Honorable Ahmed is invited to present the reports.
Your Excellency, Mr. Speaker, Sadokin Yawuri, respected members of the leadership, ably led by the Sardana of Orano, respected colleagues, my bosses, I want to say a very warm afternoon, Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues. I rise to present the reports of the constitutional amendment, and before I do that, I would like to beg and give the indulgence, Mr. Speaker and respected colleagues. First, to appreciate Mr. Speaker for the very good support he has given to the committee, members of the committee for the very wonderful job they have done. The cooperation extended to us by our constituents and the nation at large, and I appreciate want to put it on record. Thank you very much, and this brings to the climax of this particular event, though not ending, because the constitutional amendment is a continuous process. What we have is just this other, while other work will continue in progress. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I rise to move that the House do receive the report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to abrogate the state joint local government account and provide for special account into which shall be paid all allocations due to local government councils from the federation account from the government of the state and for related matters. And I would beg for indulgence to go all through the reports. I also rise to move that, Mr. Speaker, to move that the House do receive the report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee to alter the 1999 Constitution to establish local government as a tier of government and guarantee their democratic existence, tenure, and for related matters. I also rise, Mr. Speaker, to move that the House will receive the report of the Ad Hoc Committee to alter the 1997 Constitution to change the name of Apipo North, Apipo South, local government areas, and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, in the same vein, to move that the House will receive the report of the Ad Hoc Committee to change the name of Quincy local government area and for related matters. The names of Ekbo North and Ekbo South local government areas and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, I also write to move that the House receive the report to change the name of Barikilad local government area and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, the House also to receive the report to correct the name of Akfibo local government area and for related matters. The names of Obia, Akpo local government area and for related matters. To provide for the financial independence and state of the State Housing Assembly and State Judiciary and for related matters. To compel persons to obey and comply with legislative summons and for related matters. To regulate the first session and inauguration of members elect of the National and State House of Assembly and for related matters. Also, the report to institutionalize legislative bureaucracy in the Constitution and for related matters. Also, to receive the report of a bill for an act to provide for the procedure of passing a constitutional alteration bill where the President withheld assent and for related matters. And also the House to receive the report to provide for the procedure for overriding executive veto in respect of money bill and for related matters. Also, I move that the House will receive the report of the Constitutional Review to provide for the procedure of removing presiding officers of the legislature and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide pension for presiding officers of the National Assembly and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, I also move that the House will receive the report of the Constitution, the Ad Committee on Constitution of the Review of the 1999 Constitution on a bill for act to provide the Constitution, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to establish the Federal Revenue Courts and Revenue Courts of the state and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report to further strengthen the judiciary for the timely dispensation of justice and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report of the committee to provide for the timeline within which civil and criminal cases are heard and determined at trial and appellate courts in order to eliminate unnecessary delay in justice administration and delivery and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report of the Ad Committee to ensure uniformity in the retirement age and pension rights of judicial officers of the Superior Courts of Records and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report of the Ad Committee to delete the reference to the provisions of the Criminal Code, Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Act, Criminal Procedure Code, or Evidence Act and for related matters. I also move that the House will receive the Ad Committee to alter the Constitution to exclude the period of intervening events in the composition of the time, in the competition of the time for determining pre-election petitions, election petitions, and appeal therefrom and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report of that committee to alter the Constitution of Nigeria to allow courts of tribunal proceedings to be conducted remotely, virtually, online, or through any media platform or technological innovation and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also urge the House to receive the report of the Ad Committee to expand the independence of the judicial the interpretation of the judicial officers to include courts of tribunals created by the Act of the National Assembly or State House Assembly and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also urge the House to receive the report of the House to review the report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to provide for the post-court qualification of Secretary of the National Judicial Council and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also urge the House to receive the report of the Ad Hoc Committee to alter the Constitution of Nigeria to provide to permit public servants to engage in healthcare, education, production, and services beyond farming and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also urge the House to receive the report of that committee to impose the requirements of fair hearing in the process of recommendation for the removal of judicial officers by the State Judicial Service Commission and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House do receive the report of the Ad Hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, to include judges of the National Industrial Court in the composition of electoral tribunal and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House do receive the report of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution, on a bill for an act to alter the provision of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to move airports from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list and for related matters. That the House also do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to move fingerprints, identification, and criminal records from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list and for related matters. That the House also do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee to delete prisons in the exclusive legislative list and designate it as correctional services in the concurrent legislative list and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I also move that the House do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to move railway from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list and for related matters. That the House also do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the 1999 Constitution to allow states generate, transmit, distribute electricity in the area covered by the national grid and for related matters. Respected colleagues, I also move that the House will receive the report of the Ad Committee on the 1999 Constitution for a bill for an act to alter Part 1 of the second schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to include value-added tax on the exclusive legislative list and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House also do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for special seat for women in National and State House of Assembly and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of a special ad hoc committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to expand the scope of citizenship by registration and for related matters. Also, that I urge the House to receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for affirmative action for women in political party administration and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for criteria for qualification to become an indigent of the state, of a state in Nigeria and for related matters. Also, that the House will receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the 1999 Review Constitution on a bill for an act to empower Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission to enforce compliance with remittance of accruals into and disbursements of the revenue from the Federation account and streamline the procedure for reviewing the revenue allocation formula and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House will receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee to alter the Constitution of the Federation to enhance the independence of certain bodies and for related matters. That the House also do receive the Special Ad hoc Committee report on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to remove traditional lawmaking power, transitional lawmaking powers from the executive arms of government and for related matters. That the House will receive the report of the Special Act Committee to review the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to expand immunity to the legislative and judicial arms of government and for related matters. That the House will receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to specify the time and within which executive shall present to the National Assembly any treaty between Federation and other country for enactment and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to specify the period within which President or the Governor of a state shall present the appropriation bill before the National Assembly or the State Houses Assembly and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to require the President or Governor to submit the names of persons nominated as ministers or commissioners within 30 days of taking the oath of office for confirmation by the Senate or the State House Assembly and for related matters. That the House do receive this special report of the 1997 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the third schedule of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to include presiding officers of the National Assembly in the membership of the National Security Council and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee of the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to establish Security Council and for related matters, State Security Council and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I also move that the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the 1999 Constitution to empower the National Assembly and the State Assembly powers to summon the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria or the Governor of the state to answer questions on issues on which the National Assembly or State Assembly have the powers to make laws and for related matters. Respected colleagues, that the House will receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the report of 1999 Constitution on the bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to reduce the period within which the President or the Governor of the state may authorize the withdrawal of monies from the Consolidated Revenue Fund in the absence of an appropriation act from 6 months to 3 months and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to replace the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation with the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federal Government and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to establish the office of the Accountant General of the Federation of the Federal Government separate, on a bill for an act to establish the office of the Accountant General of the Federation separate from the office of the Accountant General of the Federation and for related matters. That the House will receive the report on the 1992 Special Ad hoc Committee to specify the time frame for the conduct of population census and for related matters. That the House will receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to establish the office of the Attorney General of the Federation and of the state separate from the office of Minister of Justice and Commissioner for Justice of the state in order to make the offices of the Attorney General independent and insulated from partisanship and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provisions of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide for the state of the nation and the state of the state addressed by the President and Governor and for related matters. Respected colleagues, Mr. Speaker, that the House do receive the report of a Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to include former heads of the National Assembly in the Council of State and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to provide for the to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for the termination of tenure of certain elected officials on account of change of a political party and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to enhance existing provisions on the formation of political parties and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide for the independent candidacy of in presidential, governorship, National Assembly, State Assembly, and local government council elections and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for diaspora voting and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for the office of the mayor for the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Abuja, and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1997 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to provide for appointment of minister for an FCT and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on the bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to correct the error in the definition of boundary of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, that the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution or the bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to make free, compulsory, and basic education a fundamental right of all citizens under Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to further define acts of that constitute torture, inhuman or degrading treatment, and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to require the government to direct its policy towards ensuring rights to food and food security in Nigeria and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to reflect the establishment of core functions of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to establish the National and State Council of Traditional Rulers to advise the President and governors on matters relating to customs, security, and public order, and for related matters. That the House do receive the report of the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of 1999 Constitution on a bill for an act to alter the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide reserved quota for women and for related matters. Mr. Speaker, respected colleagues, I want to thank you for the opportunity given to us to serve this very good job. Thank you for the cooperation. Thank you for everything. And I want to believe and assure the First Lady that the Speaker started the gender sensitive from the composition of the ad hoc committee by ensuring that every woman in the floor of the House belongs to the committee. And that's the first time we're having. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you, Deputy Speaker. Your Excellency, that is the report of the Constitutional Review Committee. It has 3 provisions that will affect women positively. I can assure you that every man here is a he for she, except for Honorable Elumelu, the minority leader. But then again, he's just one person. So I can assure you. But there's still a lot of work to be done yet. We're still in the process, and there's still a lot of lobbying to be done on both houses. And by God's grace, we'll get through this one. Honorable Linda.
Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes.
You've forgotten to inform the First Lady that there are some members here who are entitled to vote 4 times because of the number of their wives.
Thank you, Leader. Honorable Linda from... Yes, please second the laying of the report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm Linda Chuba Ipiazu, member representing Onisha North and South Federal Constituency. It is my honor to second the motion as raised and ably presented by the Deputy Speaker of the House that the Special Ad hoc Committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution, that all the reports from number 1 to 68 be received by the House. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Motion to lay the constitutional report moved by the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ahmed Idris, and seconded by Honorable Linda Ipiazu. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Deputy Speaker, please lay the report. Thank you. Well, and that is it for the laying of we will consider the reports, like I said to members, we'll consider the reports on Wednesday. Please let's all make sure that we are in attendance. The First Lady and her team are welcome to stay with us till 4 o'clock where we finish, where we finish our proceedings. Otherwise, if you've had enough of us, please, the Chief Whip and the Deputy Whip can escort them out. Thank you very much for coming.
Chief Whip, please, take charge. Chief Whip and Deputy Whip, take charge. Chief Whip of the House, take charge, please. Chief Whip. Okay, take charge, please. Deputy Whip, please take charge. Make sure she goes back home safely. She lives here safely and gets back home safely. No, let her take a bow. Okay, you can go and take a bow and meet and go up to the Speaker as well. Take a bow first and you go to the chair.
Princess.
Honorable Minister. Please, Madam alone, please. Please. Madam alone.
No civilian there.
After her, then the Minister of Women Affairs can go. And that's all. After Madam, Minister can go. Others, you hold on, please. This is business of the women. Mun gode fa, mun gode, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. We talk. Ya gida, ya aiki. Lafiya, alhamdulillah. Ya kokari. To mun madalla. Ai kana da contact ina. Please, that's all. That's all. Sergeant at arms. That is all, please. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Madam, how are you? Oh, Madam. Tomungo Dema. Thank you, thank you. Chief Whip. Chief Whip, please. Chief Whip, please.
Madam.
Chief Whip, please. Proceed. Chief Whip. Please, honorable members, take your seats. Hey, madam. Honorable Goro, please. Honorable Goro, can you take your seat? Honorable Aminu Goro, take your seat and keep quiet. Please, members, resume your seat. Resume your seats. Members, please, Honorable Kumo, take your seat. Kumo, Police Affairs, please take your seat. We are continuing with our proceedings, please. Please, Honorable Munir, can you please replace your face mask? It's not properly placed. Honorable Munir, check your face mask and place it properly. Honorable Munir Baba Dagundi, please place your face mask properly. Please, honorable members, resume your seats as we continue with our proceedings, please. Honorable Kumo, please allow the speaker. Mr. Speaker, the House is set to continue with our proceedings, please.
Honorable colleagues, thank you very much. Deputy Speaker and the Committee on Constitutional Review, thank you for a job well done. When you were reading out the provisions and the clauses, I had almost forgotten some of those far-reaching clauses. I almost forgotten. I think you've done a good job, a thorough job. Thank you very much for your service. So, honorable colleagues, that brings me back again to repeat. Let us all be here on Wednesday to vote on these clauses. Everybody needs to be here. Otherwise, we will not get our 2/3. Honorable Elumelu, you are excused from sitting on Wednesday. You don't have to be here. The first order, is it 6th? Sorry. Yeah. The sixth order of the day is a motion on urgent need to upgrade the standards of the Federal Fire Service to tackle incessant cases of fire outbreaks in Nigeria, standing in the name of Honorable Ganiu Abiodun Johnson. Honorable Johnson is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Abdul Ganiu Johnson. I represent the good people of Oshodi Solo Federal Constituency 2. I'm from Lagos. I rise to move the motion on urgent need to upgrade the standards of the Federal Fire Service to tackle the incessant cases of fire outbreaks in Nigeria. The House knows that fire incidents constitute one of the calamities that often befall Nigerians, especially during the Harmattan season, making it easy for fire to spread at the slightest ignition or explosions caused by fuel-laden trucks. Also note that lives, properties, and businesses have been destroyed as a result of incessant fire outbreaks in the country. Aware that in Nigeria, the dry season is usually from November to March, which comes with an increased incidence of fire outbreaks due to the easy spread of fire during this period. Also aware that fire incidences occur occasionally during the rainy season as a result of explosions from fuel-laden trucks. Recall that on 7th January 2021, an explosion along Apapa-Oshodi Expressway damaged the ramp to the airport and caused huge loss to the nation's economy as it prevented people from accessing the airport. Also recall that on 22nd March 2021, properties worth millions of naira and over 60 shops were destroyed following a midnight fire outbreak at the Tudun Wada Market in Gusau in Zamfara State. Concerned that there have been numerous reports of fire incidences which have destroyed businesses worth millions of naira and the consequent job losses that ensue, not to mention loss of lives. Cognizant of the mandate of Federal Fire Service to save lives and property through firefighting, rescue operations, and rendering of other humanitarian services. The House resolves, 1, urge the federal government to commit more funds to the fire service and provide fire service stations in all these 774 local government areas in the Federation to meet up with their current challenges in combating fire outbreaks. 2, also urge the Federal Fire Service and other stakeholders in disaster management to intensify advocacy in the sector. 3, call on the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to conduct sensitization campaigns to local government areas on the importance of setting up, funding and equipping their own emergency management agencies in order to localize disaster risk management practices in local communities. And finally, also mandate the committees on interior and emergency and disaster preparedness to ensure compliance. I so submit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Musa Umar Garu, member representing Gozakawa Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my honorable colleagues. I so second.
Okay, I think it's straightforward. It's an infrastructure motion moved by Honorable Johnson, seconded by Honorable Musa. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The seventh order of the day is motion on urgent need to reopen the railway station at Ede in Osun State, standing in the name of Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable Salam is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Bamidele Salam. I represent the fantastic people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedo Jigbo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move a motion on the need to urgently reopen the railway station in Ede in Osun State. The House notes that the railway station in Ede is one of the first railway stations in Nigeria which was constructed alongside those in Agege Station, Ibadan, Iwo, Osogbo, Ofa, Iloni, and so on. The House notes that Ede is a major trading center for cotton, palm produce, yam, cassava, okra, kola nut, and other agricultural produce in the southwestern part of Nigeria, as the inhabitants are predominantly farmers and traders. Further notes that being a major exportation point for agricultural products, a railway station was constructed in the town in 1906 with links to Lagos in the southwest and Unguru in the north. Aware that the railway station has facilitated trade, generated economic activities, and ultimately created jobs for the teeming unemployed youth of Ede and Osun State as a whole. Concerned that despite the huge population and economic activities in Ede and its environs, the Ede railway station has been closed down for about 1 year, allegedly as a result of lack of sanitary facilities and electricity. Also concerned that the closure is negatively impacting the people of Ede and its environs, as well as causing revenue loss to the Nigeria Railway Corporation and the country as a whole. Cognizant of the fact that the essence of reviving the railway station is to restore and expand economic activities in Nigeria, thus the closure of a viable railway station as the one in Ede may be inimical to the federal government's plan to expand the economy through the standard gauge rail line project. Worried that if nothing is done to reopen the Ede railway station, facilities worth several millions of naira, comprising of the ticket office, the platform for loading and unloading, among others, will deteriorate, thus causing huge revenue loss to the federal government of Nigeria. The House resolves to, 1, urge the Nigeria Railway Corporation to urgently reopen the Ede railway station in Osun State and put in place necessary facilities for the smooth running of the station. And 2, mandate the House Committee on Land Transport to ensure compliance. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Jaha, please second.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. Ahmed Jaha Babao is my name. Chibok Dambo Goza Federal Constituency is where I represent. I I rise to second a motion ably moved by Honorable Bamidele Salam. I so second.
Thank you. This is an infrastructure motion. I'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. Eighth order of the day is a motion on the need to investigate the incidences of fake insurance certificates in Nigeria. Standing in the name of Honorable Oluyemi Adewale Taiwo. Honorable Taiwo is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Taiwo Oluyemi Adewale. I represent the good people of Ibarapa East Ido Federal Constituency area of Oyo State. I have a motion on the need to investigate the incidences of fake insurance certificates in Nigeria. The Act notes that the Insurance Act 2003 mandates all motorists to have a minimum of third-party motor insurance policy in place. Under Section 68 of Act stipulates that no person shall use or cause or permit any other person to use a motor vehicle on a road unless a liability which he may thereby incur in respect of damage to the property of third party is insured with an insurer registered under this Act. He is also aware that the statutory laws of the country stipulate that no motorist should ply Nigeria road without having a genuine insurance certificate. However, most motorists have continued to show absolute disregard for the statutory requirements. He has also worried that the number of vehicles with fake certificates on Nigeria road has risen to 9.4 million, and the figure released by the Nigeria Insurance Association revealed that only 2.72 million vehicles on Nigeria road have valid insurance covers as at February 2021. I was also worried that the millions of vehicles, trucks, motorcycles plying Nigerian roads are not insured. The House hereby resolved to urge the insurance companies and brokerage to have operational offices in major cities of the country. The House also mandated the Committee on Insurance and Actual Matters to investigate the incidence of fake insurance certificates in Nigeria for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker. Thanks.
Honorable Blessing, Onu, please second.
This one seeks to because.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Blessing Onyechehonu, and I represent the good people of Otukpo Ohimini, Federal Constituency. I'm from Benue State. And I rise to second the motion ably moved by my honorable colleague. I so second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Infrastructure, I think. Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. His Honorable Prince Akinremi Jagaba, is he here? Honorable Jagaba has a very important bill which we gave him to work on. Chairman Business and Rules, please try and get in touch with him. We need his report on the floor of the House in the next 2 weeks. National Innovation Agency Establishment Bill. National Innovation Agency Establishment Bill. Clerk, please get in touch with the chairman of the committee, Honorable Prince Akinremi. We need his report on the floor in the next 2 weeks. The ninth order of the day is a motion on need to subsidize COVID-19 tests and increase molecular diagnosis centers in Nigeria. Standing in the name of Honorable Oberu Akwefe Afe. Is Honorable Afe here? Honorable Afe is invited to move the motion. I don't think he's here.
Mr. Speaker, it seems Honorable Affair is not on the floor. I move that the motion be stepped down by the leader of the House. I so move.
The motion is stepped down. The 10th order of the day is a motion on need to develop the Idere Hill at Ibarapa Central local government area of Oyo State. as an international tourist center standing in the name of Honorable Muraino Ajibola. Honorable Ajibola is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, our Right Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I am Honorable Dr. Ajibola Muraina. I represent Ibarapa Central, Ibarapa North Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I'm from Oyo State. Mr. Speaker, my honorable colleagues, I have a motion, and with your kind permission, I am prepared to move on the need to develop Idere Hills at Ibarapa Central Local Government Area of Oyo State as an international tourist center. The House notes that in 2019, the tourism industry contributed 10.4% of the global gross domestic product, GDP, which decreased to 5.5% in 2020 due to the restrictions placed on the global travels following the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. The House also notes that several African countries have developed thriving and sustainable tourism industries, as many may be seen in Morocco, where the tourism industry contributed 18% of the country's GDP in 2019. The House further notes that in 2019, the tourism industry contributed $1.5 billion to Nigeria's economy, which decreased due to outbreak of COVID-19 and the restrictions placed on international travels. The House is concerned that the Nigerian tourism industry remains relatively undeveloped, despite the uniqueness, richness, and diversity of Nigeria's tourism resources. The House believes that the tourism industry in Nigeria has the potential of contributing much more to the economy, provided that the federal government, the 36 state governments, and the Federal Capital Territory put in place measures to harness the potentials of the numerous natural tourist attractions that abound in the country. The House is aware that the hills situated in Idere town in the Ibarapa Central Local Government Area of Oyo State, which is about 2 hours drive from Ibadan, is gradually emerging as a new tourism center, as it has been attracting patronage from local and international tourists. The House is also aware that Idere Hills is endowed with about 14 natural attractions, among which are a suspended lake, unexploited caves, beautiful topography, unusually shaped rocks, friendly weather, and a fortress, and is blessed with several historic artifacts and archaeological materials, which are yet to be studied and documented by the National Library and the National Museum. The House observes that the inhabitants of Idere town and their adjoining settlements often organize annual carnivals, which attract visitors from all over the world, and the government of Oyo State has been promoting and developing Idere Hills as an emerging and thriving international tourism center. The House is cognizant that if Idere Hills is officially recognized and developed as an international tourism center, the benefits to the country will be enormous, including protection of the environment, preservation of natural resources, and conservation of wildlife, as well as preservation of the cultural heritage of the inhabitants, hence providing social, economic benefits for the host communities, or your state and the country as a whole. The House resolves, 1, to urge the federal government to officially declare Idere Hills as an international tourism center in Nigeria, and develop it by providing good roads, lodging, hospitals, and ancillary services for the comfort of tourists and the inhabitants who may require them. 2, the House
resolves to mandate the Committees on Culture and Tourism to ensure compliance and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. Thank you, Your Excellency, the Right Honorable Speaker, and my honorable colleagues. I move in terms of my motion papers. I beg to move, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Lumelu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elmelu, and I represent the good people of Anocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion moved by Honorable Muraino Ajibola and also partly supported by Honorable Linda Bazu. I so second.
This is an infrastructure-related motion, so I'll put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 11th order of the day is a motion on devastating fire disaster at Kauje Market in Bagodo local government, area of Kebbi State. Standing in the name of Honorable Bello Kauje, Honorable Kauje is invited to move the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my respected colleagues. The motion is devastating fire disaster at Kaoje Market in Bagudo local government area of Kebbi State. The House note that Kaoje Market in Bagudo local government of Kebbi State is a market where many traders go big, and this novel traders market has existed in Kaoje community for a very long time. Informed on Wednesday, 16 February 2022, a devastating fire outbreak occurred at the market, destroying over 100 shops, several resident houses, vehicle, tricycle, motorcycle, valuable worth millions of naira. Aware that as a result of the fire disaster, economic activities at the market has virtually been grounded, leaving the victim financially handicapped and emotionally and physiologically distressed, thus rendering the traders idle and are now roaming the street, a development that could lead in a social crisis. Recognize the effort of the government of Kebbi State and the local government council, which shown concern at the plight of the traders and visit the market. Concern that the remote and immediate cause of the fire outbreak are still unknown, and sustainable solution has not been prepared to prevent the further occurrence. We resolve to commiserate with the government of Kebbi State and visit the victim of fire disaster, while urging the National Emergency Management NEMA to send relief material to the victims. Mandate the Committee of Emergency and Disaster Preparedness to embark on fact-finding visit, identify the remote and immediate cause of the fire outbreak, and assess the level of damage caused with a view of preventing a future occurrence, and report back to House within 4 weeks. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Onuga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, my highly respected colleagues. My name is Rep. Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulously united people of Ikene, Shagamu, Remo North. I am from Ogun State, and I rise to second the motion ably moved by Honorable Kauje. I so second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kauje. Sorry about the disaster in your local local government area. This is a disaster motion, so we'll just put the question. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 12th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers of Nigeria. And for related matters, honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Thursday, 27th February 2020. The leader will move for its consideration. Deputy Leader. Honorable Umar.
Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I am Comrade Peter Ohiazoja Patterson, MNI, representing the great people of Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. I'm from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I move that a bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Auctioneers of Nigeria and for related matters, HB 702, be considered. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Chairman Business, can you second, please?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues. I am Abubakar Samfulata. I represent Borneo Krika Sama Guni Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Jigawa State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I move to second the motion ably moved by the leader of the House that a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers of Nigeria and for related matters, HB 702, be considered in the Committee of the Whole. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. The 13th order of the day is consideration of a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the bill was committed to the Committee of the Whole on Tuesday, 16 November 2021. The leader will move for its consideration. Leader, you might want to take the next series of, instead of, I think, 14, 15, okay, huh? Oh, okay. Mr.
Speaker and my distinguished colleagues, once again, Comrade Peter Ohiazoja Patterson, MNI. I represent Akoko Edo Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Edo State. I move that a bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and for related matters, HB 329, be considered by the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Thank you, Leader. Honorable Jagger.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, my honorable colleagues. I'm Mohammed Umar Jega, representing Aleru Gondu Jega Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion, ably moved by the Leader of the House. I so second. Thank you.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. The 14th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Environment on a bill for an act to amend Section 3 of the National Agency for the Great Green Wall Act by providing for the resignation of a council member by notice addressed to the minister, and that the notice shall take effect upon its being acknowledged by the minister for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Wednesday, 30th of June 2021. Honorable Johnson Oguma will move for its consideration.
Thank you, my respected Speaker and my colleagues. I'm Honorable Johnson Egwahidi Oguma. I represent Isako Federal Constituency. I am from Edo State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that for the consideration of the report of the Committee on Environment on a bill for an act to amend the Section 3 of the National Agency for Great Green Wall Act by providing for resignation of the council member by notice addressed to the minister, and that the notice shall take effect upon its being acknowledged by the minister and for related matters, and approve the recommendation therein. Mr. Speaker, I so move for its consideration. Thank you.
Chief Whip, you objected to Princess Miriam earlier, and now she's even sitting next to you. Even next to you, you didn't see her. Interesting. Very interesting. Prof, can you please circle? Oh.
Mr. Speaker, I'm Professor Julius Ihanvere, OON, representing the good people of Owan Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, from Edo State. I rise to second the motion ably moved by my brother and colleague, Honorable Johnson Egwahide Oguma. I so second.
Those in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 15th order of the day is consideration of report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to establish the Federal University of Sports, Afuze, Edo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters. Honorable members will recall that the report was laid on Thursday, 1st July 2021. Honorable Aminu Suleiman will move for its consideration.
Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State, and my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman. I represent Pagi Federal Constituency. Honorable Speaker, sir, I move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Sports, Apuzi, Edo State, and to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for related matters, HB 628, and approve the recommendation therein. I move, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Honorable Babangida.
Tolu.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, my name
Chief with discrimination.
I'm representing Madam Fashi, Kapur, Federal Constituency. I'm from Katsina State. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I rise to support the motion that as moved by Honorable Amin Suleiman Garo for the consideration of the report. I so move.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. 16th order of the day is concerning a report of the Committee on Basic Education and Services on the need to investigate the fire outbreak at the Federal Government College, KEFI. Honorable members recall that the report was laid on Tuesday, 1st February 2022. Honorable Julius Nyongere will move for its consideration.
Mr. Speaker, I'm Professor Julius Ihonvere, OON.
Maybe I'm still going to end up sending.
Representing Owa Federal Constituency, Edo State. I rise to move that the House do consider the report of the Committee on Basic Education and Services on the need to investigate the fire outbreak at the Federal Government College, KEFI, and approve the recommendations therein. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Onanuga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Highly respected colleagues, my name is Rep. Otumba Adewumi Oriyomi Ononuga. I represent the fabulous United People of Ikene, Shagamu, and Remo North. I'm from Ogun State, and I rise to second that the report on the Committee on Basic Education and Services as moved by Honorable Julius Ihonvere be considered. I so second, sir.
Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. Ayes have it. House Leader will move that the House resolve into Committee of the Whole. Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and my dear colleagues. Comrade Peter Ahoyazoje, a partisan MNI. I move that this House do resolve to Committee of the Whole to consider reports. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Honorable Barrister.
Okay, yes. Any minority leader? Can you second?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I remain Honorable Ndudi Godwin Elumelu, and I represent the good people of Anyocho Shimili Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Birthday boy, not man. I rise to second the motion moved by the House Leader, Honorable Peter Apatase. I so second.
Moved by Honorable, motion moved by Honorable, the Deputy Leader, Honorable Akpata Singh, MNI, supported by Honorable Ndidi Lumelu, with nothing after his name. Those in support, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. House hereby resolves in the Committee of the Whole.
Respected colleagues, the first report to be the bill to be considered is an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers to provide for the control of its membership and promote the practice of auctioneers in Nigeria and following matters. I now invite the Leader of the House to give us the synopsis of the report.
Mr. Chair, and my dear colleagues, the bill before us is a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers to provide for the control of its members to promote the practice of auctioneers in Nigeria. Mr. Chair, this is an establishment bill actually, and this one seeks to specifically control the activities of members of a particular profession in the country, which is that of auctioneering. It's a practice that is currently done by a whole lot of people without specific, organization to take charge of, their activities so as to lay the rules and ensure that they play by the rules for the benefit of the, consumers of their services. So by the time this case through, we shall be providing the legislative framework, the legal framework for them to properly organize themselves and ensure that Nigerian people and every beneficiary of auctioneering activity gets the best. That is exactly what it is meant to do.
Thank you. Respected colleagues, those in favor of clause 1? Clause 1. 2. Clause 3. Clause 4. Clause 4. Clause 5. Clause 6. Clause 7, Clause 8, Clause 9, Clause 10, 11, 12, Clause 14, Clause 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, plus 20, plus 21, plus 22, plus 23, plus 20, 24 schedules. On the schedules? Huh? Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman. I'm from Bauchi. My name is Marshal Manu Soro, daughter of Uganda Federal Constituency. Mr. Chairman, when you look at the second schedule, number 5, the quorum of the panel shall be 2. I think by having 2 persons in the panel, that will create a stalemate in the decision or when it comes to voting. So I want to propose that at the minimum, we should have 3 members as a quorum of the panel. Thank you.
Second schedule, what number? Number 5.
Number 5.
Okay. The quorum of the panel shall be 2. Two-thirds, I suppose so.
Sir?
It shall be two-thirds, not 2. It should be typographical error, I suppose so. Is that why Alfani was 2? It's 2. So what's the amendment, sir?
Sir, my amendment is to tinker with that number of 2 for it to be 3, so that in the case of voting, they may vote.
But what is the total number of the panel?
Sorry?
What is the total number as specified here? What is the total number for the panel that constitute the panel?
The panel mentioned 2 persons as the quorum, and should in the event that these 2 persons happen to take a decision, 2 persons cannot vote.
That's what I'm asking. What is the total number that constitute the panel first before you now talk of quorum?
When you look at the previous page, second schedule number 1, I think the tribunal committee also made mention of a minimum of 3 persons as members.
If you have a minimum of 3 persons, mean 2 persons can now sit as a quorum.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Explanatory memoranda. Long title. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the bill to be considered is for an act to establish a chartered institute of public administration of Nigeria to make provisions, among other things, for membership and control of profession of public administration and for related matters. I now invite the leader to give the Senate the report.
Mr. Chair, and my well-respected colleagues, the bill before us is also an establishment bill. This time around, it seeks to professionalize one area that is so popular and so common in this country, but which has not enjoyed the level of recognition that similar, professions do enjoy. Like you have the accountants, the engineers who have their CIPS, Chartered Institute of Accountants, and the rest of them. But this time around, this bill seeks to create that kind of framework to enable them organize and manage themselves and set standards for people who are coming in or people who are already in there, such that everybody who is participating in this field meets certain minimum standard and qualifies them, to be known as professionals in that area. Mr. Chair, we have a lot of graduates of public administration in Nigeria who are not seen as professional in any way because it is not as organized like we have the accounting field and so on. So that is the lacuna that this bill seeks to address properly. So I seek the cooperation of our colleagues to expeditiously consider it.
Maybe further information is that this bill is a committal bill. It was taken to the President for assent, declined because of some clauses there, particularly asking the establishment to be drawing from the fashion account. And I think it has been cleaned up, that particular provision, so that it can go. Thank you. Clause 1, 2, 3, plus 5, plus 6. Plus 8, plus 9, plus 10, plus 11.
Clause 12. Clause 13. Clause 14. Clause 15. Clause 16. Clause 17. Clause 19. Clause 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. Explanatory memoranda, long title. Respected colleagues, the next bill to be considered for an act to amend Section 3 of the National Agency for the Great Green Wall Establishment Act, Cap N2 Law Supervision for Nigeria 2004 by adding subsection 3 immediately after Section 2, and the notice shall be after Section 2, thereby providing for the resignation of the council member by notice addressed by the minister, and the notice shall be taken effect from acknowledge the only comrade, substantive. Substantive.
A very consistent comrade. I'm a very consistent comrade. Very consistent comrade and very senior for that matter.
Comrade at what level?
My respected chairman, even if you consider the age, you will know that some people became comrade before others. If you consider the age, my age, you know that I was comrade before them. And I'm always been very consistent, sir.
But what about the leadership assignment?
The
leadership ladder.
Leadership?
Ladder.
The ladder must have a foundation. there must be foundation for any height. Thank you, sir. With due respect, sir, leader of the house and leaders, corporate, I submit. I'm Honorable Johnson Oguman, sir.
You have removed the comrade.
Yes, sir.
You have removed the comrade.
A very good comrade.
He has removed it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. The essence of this amendment bill, you have read it out, is to amend Section 3, Sub 2, and to add Sub 3 to make provision for the resignation of a council member. Then the other 6 is just an arrangement amendment whereby we replace eradication to talk about amelioration and others. The major amendment is on Section 3. That's justice. Thank you, sir.
Plus one. Plus 2. Plus 3. Honorable Johnson, you are minimizing or economizing your resources, Abi. We spoke about this kind of work yesterday. We'll allow you pass because of own personal. Otherwise, we'll have asked you to go back and submit to us the entirety of the bill. Yes, what you are trying to amend just a small portion, but members need to see the entirety of the bill, just like the one we did for the Chartered Institute of Public Administration. That's what's supposed to be. Thank you. So 30. Explanatory memoranda. Long title. It means then we carry the entire thing in your reporting. It means we carry the entire thing. Thank you. Respected colleagues, the next report to be considered is that of Committee on Tertiary Education and Services on a Bill for an Act to establish the Federal University of Sports, Afuze Edo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its due management and administration and for the matters. And I invite the only comrade in the hierarchy. The other comrade, I say the hierarchy. In the hierarchy, okay, I forgot. The deputy leader is there. Thank you.
Chairman, honorable colleagues, I am from Kano State. And my name is Comrade Aminu Suleiman. I represent Fage Federal Constituency. Mr. Chair, honorable colleagues, this is an establishment bill which was subjected to the rigors of a committee work. Stake-cam holders in and outside the parliament were invited, and exchange several and series of engagement went about in trying to come out with this report, which is a bit unique from the other establishments and bills that have so far been considered by this House. This is a request for the establishment of a federal university with some positive bias towards sports, but this is not to say that other disciplines are not to be considered. However, it is intended that when this institution finally sells through, it will assist in arresting youth restiveness, and of course, those that are blessed in other space of life, other than the academics, could also have an opportunity to realize their potentials, particularly those in sports. But like I repeatedly say, that the university is also going to offer other serious academic disciplines like in sciences and in engineering. The committee at the end make this recommendation on the basis of the fact that all the stakeholders that appeared before the committee gave an affirmation position as to the necessity of this establishment. And therefore, it is the considered opinion of the committee that respected members on the floor would look at and scrutinize the recommendations very objectively and approve them as recommended. This is a little synopsis, Honorable Chairman, sir, and I urge my colleagues to give an objective view of this matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Except that the signature of the clerk and that of the chairman is almost looking synonymous. I don't know. The similarity are so much. Close 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 6, plus 7, plus 8, plus 9, plus 10, 11, 12. Explanatory memoranda. Long title. Thank you. I don't know.
It's not part of our proceedings. Respected colleagues, the next report to be considered is that of the House Committee on Basic Education and Services on the need to investigate fire outbreak at Federal Government College. Kefi, I now invite the most eloquent speechwriter of the country, our leader, Prof. Julius, to give the synopsis of the report.
Young ladies lost their lives. One was badly burnt. There was some evidence of negligence. But this report is the outcome of extensive consultations with all the critical stakeholders, including the families of the children that were affected. As the report clearly states, it has enabled us to look at precautions against the future, both in terms of equipment, in terms of leadership of the schools, federal government schools, and in terms of fire drills and provisions for security on campus. We've also made some recommendations in terms of compensations to the families affected, because when parents take their children to school, they expect that the children will learn, come back home safely, but this has not happened, and the response from the ministries were also left much to be desired. So we would like the House to consider our recommendation and approve. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Recommendation 1, recommendation 2, 3, recommendation 4, recommendation 5, 6, recommendation 7, recommendation 8, sorry.
I know, I'm sorry. On combination, yes, that there should be provision for fire fighting equipment. You see, that to me is too vague. You see, I mean, we should be specific in this recommendation. Installation of fire hydrants, because that is the key. That is the key. Instead of just, that's too broad. No, fire extinguisher is not. Yes, we can complement
Fire hydrant is more technical.
Installed in each block, inclusive.
Fire extinguishers.
Fire extinguisher is too mobile. I mean, it's too handy. So, but the installation of fire hydrants along the road. Yeah, that is part of the recommendation.
That is, you are now taking the cognizance of the location of the institutions. Some of them will not have the facility to support what they are asking for. Thank you. And engineer.
Thank you, the chair, distinguished colleague. I stand to beg my colleagues to really leave the recommendation 5 as it is, because you see, it has given us at least the minimum, that there must be a minimum firefighting equipment and does not limit to. So then the government is at leverage, and at any time when they provided even the maximum, they have been covered by our recommendation rather than restricting and tying ourselves. Thank you, sir. I so submit.
Sir Johnson, Honorable, I am with you, but it's because of the facility that I want to beg that we lean to allow the flexibility of what should happen. Thank you. Got it? Yes, sir.
We've passed 4, but I just want to draw our attention. I want to draw attention of the honorable colleagues that the word hotels in 4, I want to assert that it means
it's supposed to be hostels.
Yeah, and then redesign. There's ED in front of M. ED, design. Just.
Well, it's a doctor versus prof. He's not the one. This is the raw data. Well, 4 has corrected. Thank you. Thank you that it is corrected in the order paper. Flatter is corrected in the order paper. Thank you. Recommendation 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Thank you. Leader, move that will revert to plenary to report progress.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and my dear colleagues. Comrade Peter Patterson, MNI. Mr. Chair, I move that this, sure, that this House do revert to plenary to report progress. Mr. Chair, so move.
Honorable Johnson, second the motion. No, your seat. Be on your seat. Take your seat. Go to your seat. Go to your seat.
My receipt.
No problem. Go to your seat. After we work for him, you want to run away and leave us here. No, so you leave us here to work for you.
Thank you, my respected chairman and my distinguished colleagues. I am Honorable Johnson Egwagide Oguma. I represent all the people of Itako Federal Constituency. I rise to second the motion that our respected chairman reverts to the speaker's seat and report progress. Thank you.
To the chairman.
Sir?
Who's of the chairman?
I said the respected chairman of the committee of the whole. Refer to the
Who moved the motion?
Is the leader of the house.
Thank you. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's having. Plan to report progress. Respected colleagues, the House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report on a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Auctioneers of Nigeria and for Land Matter Approved Clause 123 and the schedules the long title, the explanatory memoranda of the bill. The House in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the committee of the report of a bill for an act to establish Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria and for Land Matter Approved Clause 123, the schedules the long title and explanatory memoranda of the bill. The House in the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Environment on a bill for an act to amend the Section 3 of the National Agency for the Great Green Wall Act by providing for resignation of council members by notice addressed to the minister, and that the notice shall take effect upon its being acknowledged by the minister and for the matter approved clauses 1 to 5, the long title and the explanatory memorandum of the bill. The House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee of Tertiary Education and Services on a bill for an act to establish Federal University of Sports, Afuze, Edo State, to make comprehensive provisions for its dues management and administration, and for lay matter approved plus 127 days, scheduled long title and the explanatory memorandum of the report. Lastly, the House and the Committee of the Whole consider the report of the Committee on Basic Education and Services on need to investigate the fire outbreak at Federal Government College, Kefi, and approve clauses 1 to 12 of the report. Leader, move for the adoption of the report.
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, Comrade Peter once again. I move that the reports of the House be adopted as presented by Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Chibu.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, my name is Mohamed Tahir Monguno. I represent Martin Monguno, Ganze Federal Constituency of Borno State. I second the motion that the House do adopt the report of the Committee of the Report.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. Leader, move for the adjournment of the House.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. After a very successful day, I, Comrade Peter MNI, representative of Akoko Federal Constituency, hereby moved that this House adjourn to tomorrow, 24th of February, by 11 o'clock. Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. My name is Obina Chidoka, member representing Idemili North, Idemili South Federal Constituency of Anambra State. I rise this afternoon, Honorable Speaker, to second the motion that this House do hereby stand adjourned till tomorrow, as moved by our leader. Thank you.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it. The House is hereby adjourned to tomorrow, 11 a.m.